Welcome to Go Solo Live.
Don't you mean go solo live? Have you ever been asked why on earth would you travel alone? Go Solo Live not only answers that question, but celebrates life as a midlife solo traveler. This is a safe place for women to come together to reminisce about their travels, encourage others to travel, and to dig into the real lessons learned from these journeys. Now join Jennifer Buchholz with Transform Via Travel as she and her guests share stories of the solo travelers of midlife women.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Go Solo Live. This is Jennifer Buchholz with Transform Via Travel. Today, we'll hear from Channon Dade, and she'll share her travel stories as she started from 5 years old as a child of divorce who was traveling solo on the airlines to commute back and forth between her parents, through the times now where she is working for the airlines part-time to supplement her passion for travel. I can't wait for you to hear about the traveling actress's journey to freedom. Stay tuned, and at the end of our show today, I'll be sharing some of the upcoming events that Transform Via Travel is excited to be a part of. Hello, everyone. This is Jennifer Buchholz with Transform Via Travel, and for today's episode of Go Solo Live, Go Solo Live, we'll be talking to Channon Dade, and she'll be sharing some of her experiences as the traveling actress. Channon, welcome to our show.
Hey, Jennifer, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Well, and you're coming live from LA, and I'm in the Midwest. So
what's super.
There?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
What's the weather like?
Oh, beautiful. Of course you pay for it.
That's actually a good way of describing it, that you're paying for the weather.
Yes.
I know that I've done that when I've traveled. I just haven't thought about paying for the weather just in general where I live, and being in Milwaukee. I guess that's what I pay for.
Well, you guys have what? One good summer day in June?
We have one good summer day, and everything else is ugly. So yeah, that's great.
I hear you.
So we're going to go ahead and get started. And again, the idea behind the podcast is to make sure that midlife women recognize that traveling alone is not this weird thing. I really want to normalize traveling alone for American women, because I'll tell you, and you've traveled a bunch, all over the world, there's women traveling alone, and that's just part of their natural course of nature and evolution for themselves. So how did you get started doing some solo travel?
Well, I was fortunate to start at the age of 5 because the wonderful gift that my parents' divorce gave me. So my dad lived in Nashville, Tennessee, and my mom lived in Texas. And at the age of 5, I was going to see my daddy every summer. And I was so blessed to have that in me because at an early age, I learned that solo travel is such a blessing for you, and it can be so transformative. And I'm a true believer that something chemically happens to your body that produces all these happy, good vibes for you. So I have been traveling since the age of 5 solo. So that's where it started.
That's pretty crazy. And actually, my ex's daughter was a product of divorce as well. And she started traveling on planes at age 9, and she was very competent. In fact, she was sometimes the one guiding other children.
I love it.
You assume the big sister role in some of those flights as well.
Right. It becomes a part of your DNA, and start them early.
Absolutely. So now, the work that you do right now, part of it involves working with the airline industry, correct?
Correct. So just to give you a little bit of history on that, I knew that travel was important in my life from an early age. And I knew because it gave me that number one ingredient in my happiness recipe, which was that feeling of freedom. And I love being on the plane because it gives me that. So when I went off to college, I said I did not take advantage of the overseas program. And I went to a really good school, Stanford University, and they had a phenomenal overseas program that I did not take advantage of because I was trying to get through school. So I promised myself once I graduated that I was going to have travel a part of my life regardless. And long story short, 3 years after graduating, I got a part-time job with the airlines. Started off in corporate, but then I transferred to the ramp, where I get to tell the pilots where to park their plane. And I love it because I've been there going on 17 years now. And yeah, it's the best part-time gig ever because not only do you get flight benefits for yourself, but also your family and immediate friends and family, but you also get 401k. You also get health benefits, dental, and we get a pension. I know millennials might not know what that means, but we get a pension still.
Amen for pensions. And yeah, I feel bad for millennials that they won't know what that means, but you'll get other benefits like freedom in your work. So
yes.
Too funny. Well, actually, when I checked out your website, I saw that you were part of some promo videos or promo materials, right? So I don't think I realized which airline you were with, and my BFF works for that airline.
Oh,
and
okay.
I'm her enrolled passenger. So I do recognize some of the perks of being with the airline. So that's awesome. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
What has that done in terms of allowing you freedom in terms of your work as well as your lifestyle to allow flexibility for travel as well as affordability of travel?
Oh, it's been immense on my pocketbook and my time, which is our most valuable asset. With working for the airlines, I'm able to trade 50% of my shift every month away. And so, and I still keep all these great benefits. So it's allowed me to pursue my acting on a professional level. And I'm currently, not only am I featured in the safety video for United Airlines, but I'm also, so you better watch it. I say, let the safety video begin, and that's me. And then I'm also, it allowed me to pursue acting and performance speaking on different levels. So I'm the voice on the Cartoon Network's cartoon called Clarence. Say that 5 times fast. I'm the bus driver. I'm the reoccurring bus driver on that. So it allows me maximum flexibility and benefits that number one ingredient of freedom.
Absolutely. So it's like one of those things where it's the best of both worlds. And, as I actually think that part of our conversation applies to the millennials as well as to the midlifers. I talk to a lot of women who hit a particular turning point in their career or their age or their life for whatever reason, that they're looking for lifestyle-based work. And they're recognizing that, if I can figure out how to leverage my time at work and it can create more freedom for me. One of my very good friends, she and her husband just decided to pack up and move to Denver, and she is still working for a local company. And so they've figured it out. She did it. One of my favorite books is Tim Ferriss's The 4-Hour Work Week, because when I read that years ago, it just sparked in me the idea of the possibilities that work could maybe be different, even when we do traditional work.
Right.
And so this woman who just moved to Denver, she's a VP of HR.
Yeah.
It's not like she's, I teach online. So, that has inherent flexibility. She's a VP of HR of a local organization, and she can still work from Denver and do her job.
Right. And I see the industry, corporate America, transitioning more and more to that, especially hopefully. Yeah.
Right.
So it's definitely moving in that direction.
So what does a typical month look like in your world, Channon?
Well, the good question. It has transitioned in the past year, I would say, past 2 years, because I used to commute. My commute was a 2.5 hour to 3 hour plane ride from Los Angeles to Houston, where I was working. And although I've been to 32 different countries and 5 continents and countless destinations, my solo travels and my commute have probably been the most meaningful. But now that I live in Los Angeles permanently, as I call home, I still go to Houston often because I have family and my boyfriend's there. And it's a little bit more realistic. I'm able to travel even more because I'm stationary in one place for part-time work at the airline.
Nice. So you've left a little bit behind in Houston. What made you relocate to LA?
Well, the acting was prominent for me in the performance speaking, which is it's just a professional speech that's supported by different vignettes and characters that I do that I've met through my life travels and career to support the speech. So that's every LA definitely has all the tools you need, but you don't have to be in LA. And that's what kind of how I've designed my life and what I share with other people and how to live that laptop lifestyle.
I love that. And actually, I can't wait to share what you have coming up with our group. Listeners, please make sure that you stay tuned in till the end of our podcast today, as Channon will be telling you a little bit about some of the things that she has coming up to allow you to live that laptop of luxury lifestyle. I just shifted your brand for a hot minute.
No, I love it. That's
unintentionally. But again, another book that, as I was growing into my business, another book that was really inspirational to me was called Suitcase Entrepreneurs. I don't remember right offhand, but it was, again, just this idea of we have very traditional ways of thinking about work and about money and
right.
what that looks like. And again, especially I'm in the Midwest and we are not the fastest first to embrace change. And yet when you look through the eyes of the younger people and you look at what they're learning to value and things like that, there's sometimes frustration from middle age. And then sometimes there's that envy, which can then turn into a little bit of resentment because we were just brought up with a different mindset. And then as we're raising that generation of people, we're encouraging them to go and explore and find themselves, but travel, all of those things. And now it's like, well, gosh darn it. What about me? Why do I get to do that?
Yeah, for sure.
So if you had to pick a place, and I know this is an impossible question. I don't care. I ask it anyway. If you had to pick a place when you just think of, I'm going to take some time for me, I need to get away, where are you going? And if it's not even like a particular city, like what does that destination look or feel like for you, Channon?
Well, that's easy. Bali, Indonesia. Okay. Number one, it's a long plane ride, which I love. I know it's crazy. I'm insane, but I mean, if you think about it, it's the closest we ever get to heaven for some of us when you're on that plane. So take advantage of it, people. Hopefully, not the case for us. But
no comment, and I love it. I love it.
So Bali, because and cost of living is so inexpensive. You can get $9 hour thorough massages in a nice plush place, but the people and the mentality is just so relaxing and serene and simple life and simple way of being, and they support your spirituality wherever that may be and wherever you are in the moment, and it allows you to really be in the moment and just take in what's around you and be appreciative and be humbled by it all at the same time. So Bali would definitely be my place of serenity.
So thanks for sharing that. I think that there are people who, if we think of, even things like Eat, Pray, Love, and you think about like that whole exotic travel experience, like Bali appears to many people, and I haven't been there yet. How, for somebody who's like, wow, that sounds amazing, but it also doesn't, it sounds like maybe more advanced than what I'm ready for.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit more about like what a first timer's experience in Bali might be like?
Oh, sure. First of all, a first timer's experience in Bali, you're going to be welcomed every step of the way, from the point when you come off the plane to the point where you exchange money and you got the wrong money. For example, in my case, I got money from India instead of Indonesia. And they were very kind, even though they couldn't exchange it, but they were explaining it to me, to the cab driver. And you're going to see people from around the world visiting Bali at the same time. So you can relax in Bali. Unlike maybe when you go to New York, you have to be on your P's and Q's, I feel like. And you can kind of let your hair down a little bit easier. And, not to veer from your question, but you brought up in my mind how even for people, if Bali feels advanced, a staycation is one of the best things you can do for yourself. Stay at home and turn off the phone, turn off the internet. I know that sounds crazy. When you're working on you, and it goes back to one of my solo travels when I was commuting and I found the love of my life. But when you're working on you, the universe is going to pay you back in that. And I just remember there was a time in my life, and I think a lot of us women, we go through this where we're single and have almost this desperation of where we want to be with someone and we want that partner in our life. And the only way you'll get to a point where you're like, okay, I know that's going to happen. It's going to come. I'm not going to worry about it, is if you work on you first. You got to prepare yourself because he or she is being prepared for you. So I know I ventured off from your question, but that brought up. That brought that up for me.
You are preaching my mission for me.
Okay.
So, and I'm gonna just jump onto that for a minute before we go on to our next official question. You know, that idea of a staycation. One of the things that when I'm working with women is that, yeah, they might not be ready for Bali. Mm-hmm. And that could be for a whole bunch of different reasons, legitimate or sometimes like just a barrier in their mind. Mm-hmm. And so we are starting to do what's called the Go Solo Live Challenge weekends. And I'm taking small groups of women to bigger cities. So our first one is going to be in Chicago in December.
Nice.
And it's, you know what, if you've never ridden public transportation, we're going to go do that. If you've never eaten dinner alone, I'm going to make you try it. Right? And all these little things so that by the time that they're able to, you know, go to Bali or wherever that dream place is for them, that they have some confidence in some of those building block things of navigating wherever they go, that then they get to focus a little bit more on living in that experience rather than worrying about some of those barriers.
Oh, that's great. That's great. It's like they're in training. You really have to be in training, and you have to just do it and get out there and just do it so that you can see how it applies to you individually, because it's different for everybody.
Exactly.
That's great. That sounds so much fun.
Thanks. And yeah, I'm excited that there'll be more information coming on that as we proceed. And by the time that your podcast is airing in November, you know, we're getting real close to that launch date. So
good.
The exciting part is that there's always something that kind of goes wrong when we travel. And when you can have a toolkit, so that can always help us. And the toolkit, we want it to be first more self-reliance, and then a little bit like, what are your resources? So don't always like just jump on the phone kind of thing. So can you talk about any situations that you can remember aside from like that money situation that you described throughout your travels, a time where something kind of jumped up at you and you're like, gosh darn it, I really wasn't prepared for that?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, one, always have an extra charger for your phone, because I wasn't prepared when I went to Santo Domingo. I had organized a girlfriend's trip, and I didn't know that I should have printed out everything because they need paper versus digital, and my phone wasn't working. So if you prepared, you've talked to your cellular wireless company and asked them what will work with my phone in this country. But if you didn't, always print paper as a backup, and always have a power charger for my phone, just in case, and I can get the Wi-Fi that is available. That is not always reliable. So having that paper backup is kind of going back old school, is essential in those cases.
Well, and, you know, we get so used to these comforts of home, including, you know, good reception and things like that. Yeah. When you're in an area, it's been funny. So I've taken a couple groups of students on studies abroad, and, you know, for most of the trip when there's Wi-Fi around, and in many countries there's really good like free Wi-Fi, that's what they're doing. They're checking in, like they're never really, because they're checking in with what's going on back home, and they have the FOMO of missing out of what's going on back home. They aren't really as fully present and engaged as where they are. So they're missing stuff. And then there was part of that trip where we were going to be on Great Barrier Island in New Zealand, and there's no internet. There's nothing.
Oh, that's nice.
So I'm telling these 18 to 20-year-olds, nothing, no phone, nothing. They were relieved.
That's wonderful to hear. When you were talking about that, I was like, that was the best part of that Santo Domingo trip, was not having the internet access, was having the paper as a backup. And that's just so relieving to hear. And we know it, but we don't always abide by it. And if we just try it one time, you're hooked.
It's crazy to think. And actually, the students had a harder time really breaking it to their parents that they were going to be out of touch for that long.
Wow.
It was like 3 days. And they were in trusted hands,
Oh, wow.
But the parents were like, what?
And we know what it's like not to have a cell phone.
Right. That's how we grew up. We grew up like coming home when the lights went out on the street kind of thing.
Right.
We have been trained by our technology. And so I found that to be at least kind of hopeful for the future, that they did want that disengagement. It's a good thing to balance. But I'll say, having those resources available and understanding what they are, so if and when you need them, they're there. And then choosing not to use them is an entirely different situation than either not having them available or depending on them, and then they're not able to work.
Right, exactly. And I just want to add in what I would also include in that survival kit is, if you check bags, which I normally don't do, but if you do check a bag, also on your carry-on, have extra pair of underwear, extra pair of socks, and I'm forgetting the name of it, where you put it over your eyes. Eye mask, thank you. And earplugs. Those have always been essential to me when I travel, whether it be solo on the plane and the person next to me is snoring, or when you get to your hotel and it's not so solid in the walls.
I completely agree. And I actually have a wonderful travel scarf that I use. So nice. When I was just coming back from LA, I took the red eye. So in there, I keep it. Now it gets bulky, so it's not necessarily the prettiest thing, but it's functional. So I actually have a pair of gloves, my eye mask. What else? Headphones, an MP3 player. You just like a handful of things, because then they're right on me. And then it's a scarf, so if I'm cold, I can quick wrap it around either my neck or my head.
Nice.
I'm contained, and when you're flying a red eye, you don't want to have to worry about bothering people next to you in any way or things like that. So
Right. Now you have to give me the name of that product, because that sounds really good.
I will. Actually, it's something I bought on like TravelSmith or something like that, but now they have it on Amazon, and I've been recommending it to many people.
Okay, great.
So you're a carry-on only traveler, which I would expect, because when you're flying standby or things like that, you need to be really agile with your traveling.
Yes.
Ever had any really bad baggage experience? Of course, not with your airline.
Right, exactly. Yes, I have. It was just a couple of weeks ago. I have a very nice piece of luggage, but I have a cover for it.
Sure.
And I only put the cover. I have the cover on all the time. But when you're standby, sometimes you're the last one to get on, and they throw your bag underneath. So I was actually standby on another airline, which I won't mention, and my cover was on there, and they checked my bag. And the cover, when I got the bag, the cover was gone. And it's a very sacred cover because it has my alma mater, Stanford, on there. So I was like, who would want this but another Stanford grad? So when I called the airline to report it, I was like, NTSA, I called the airlines, emailed them. And I was like, if you have any other Stanford grads, tell them about it. Maybe they'll look out for me. But yeah, I lost that. And one other thing that I want to tell your listeners is that when you check bags, or your bag is checked at last minute, as soon as you get it out the carousel, open it up and check it and make sure all your contents are there, because the airlines usually only give you like a 4-hour window to claim anything missing. And it could be TSA, and it could be the airlines that has taken something, out of checking it. So you definitely want to check within that 4-hour window so that you can be compensated if something is missing.
Thank you so much for that tip. Okay, so I'm going to just reiterate. So there's a 4-hour window of reporting anything missing from your bag. So even if you're not going to be en route to your or you're en route for your destination for quite some time, do a quick check once you've claimed it from the baggage carousel.
Yes.
Okay, well, thanks for that one, Channon. That's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a couple bag experiences, man. And the first one was that a wheel got lost, and it was a decently new-ish piece of luggage. A wheel got lost on the first leg of my trip out to New Zealand.
Wow.
And I was going for 3 weeks, and I was going to be hauling that bag around a bunch. And I'm down a wheel. And that bag was like 50 pounds.
Yeah.
So I land in San Fran, and I'm like, well, I go to their luggage check area to see if they have some old, other luggage for me to buy. And that was a lost cause. So I check my luggage at the San Fran, luggage holding station, jump on the train, get to downtown, find a little luggage store, buy a new piece of luggage, get back, back. And then,
oh my gosh.
But you got to do it. I mean, because I didn't even want to try and get to New Zealand with a bad bag. So
right. And hauling 50 pounds around with 3 wheels is not going to work.
No, it really wasn't. Yeah. But again, in that case, I had trip insurance. I'm a pretty big proponent of using some sort of trip or travel.
Nice.
So they covered some of that, which was good.
And a lot of people don't realize with your baggage, with your luggage, actually, the warranty, I have used that many a times.
Good point.
Yeah, and we forget we have some of the, nowadays they don't have the lifetime warranty. It's hard. I think Ricardo was one of the last brands to have lifetime warranty, but now they're like 5-year and 10-year. But use that. Keep that tag with that information, or call that company up. And I've often gotten my luggage completely new because of wear and tear.
I did that as well. Now that you mention it, I think I've done something. I'll have to go back in my brain on that one. Yeah. So you run into a lot of women who are looking to make changes to their lifestyle based on some of the coaching that you do. And travel is such a strong part of your background. If you really wanted to share the message, and you started to earlier when you were talking about even going the Bali and the background, the staying in your own backyard, a staycation, for somebody's heart and soul, why do they need to travel? And why do they need to travel alone?
Oh, that's good. For your heart and soul, and for traveling solo, you need to take advantage of it, because there are so many life lessons involved that you will be able to give to others once you come back home, wherever home may be for you. It's countless. One of the biggest solo lessons I learned was from traveling solo was, and I had heard it in many places, I think Oprah or something, but it was, be responsible for the energy you bring into the room. No matter if that's the airplane, if that's to work, if that's in the car with the kids, be responsible, because the universe will definitely pay you back tenfold with that energy. And because people are always watching you. And when you're glowing and you're in good vibrations and you're feeling good, people are attracted to you and they will watch you. And it's just this thing that I try and do every day, no matter where I go, if it's in the grocery store line or if it's in getting in the car with someone else and my family member. I try and be responsible for the energy that I bring to them.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And that it's a good reminder for people, again, every day we have the choice to wake up and set our mood and set our intention. And
Mm-hmm.
we can either choose to do that consciously or let the environment create that for us. And
Right.
yeah, so choose to be the energy that you bring into the room.
Be responsible for it. If you're having a bad day, which we all do, just be conscious about walking into that workplace or walking into the room with your kids and being responsible and honoring their space as well. It's a very giving thing to do, and just be conscious about it. It's a gift. It's a
Absolutely.
gift.
Absolutely. So where are you going next? What's your next
Woo!
travel? I know, right? That's like one of the most exciting things. And if somebody doesn't have a place and I ask them that, they're like, it's like this wash of depression over them. So where are you going next?
So we have plans to go for Christmas to Paris, which I've been to Paris before, but I haven't been with my dad and my stepmom. And my boyfriend wants to go, and my mom. So, and they're all good friends.
I was going to say,
Yeah,
that sounds
all,
interesting.
all good friends. It's crazy, but that's how it should be. And then next year, I'm putting this out into the universe because I really want to go to Iceland. I don't know why. I saw something on TV where these people were in like a pool and it was warm, and the pool was like bringing up this fog in the nighttime. So that's what I want to go and experience in Iceland. Yeah, you're like, yeah, you go for that, Channon.
Well, I think Iceland is becoming such an amazing destination right now. And I've had friends who've gone recently. I have a lot of people that's on their list, their short list.
Yeah.
I will say, I don't, when I keep a look on travel deals,
Uh-huh.
Iceland Air has been rocking it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what they've been doing is they've been actually pricing their flights to Europe
Uh-huh.
in a way that includes no additional like airline cost for somebody to stay for extra days on the front end or back end in
Oh, that's
Iceland.
nice. Oh, that's nice. That's good
So
to hear.
it's like this wonderful win-win for Icelandic tourism, right?
Mhm,
And then
mhm.
the airline, they're stopping there anyway.
Yeah.
So they're going to lose some people off one flight and gain them, for the next. And
Right.
eventually, when Iceland becomes like that destination place, then Iceland Air doesn't have to do something like that. It's a brilliant part of their business model.
Ah, thanks for sharing that, because as someone who works for the airlines, I rarely know about pricing.
Of course.
But no, that's good to know. It gives me insight on another airline in their industry and their business model. So thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Channon, you have mentioned that you have some pretty cool new things that you're going to be working on in your business. And I absolutely want to offer you, as your gift for being on this show, I want to make sure that you get a chance to share with the listeners what you have going on. Can
Oh,
you share?
thank you. Thank you so much. Well, on my website, I have tons of downloads. So if you sign up, you can get all of them. But I always feature around freedom, that theme of freedom. So if you're an entrepreneur with a laptop, or location-free lifestyle, or stay-at-home mom, podcasters, travel influencers, or actors, I always venture around how to make money with that laptop lifestyle. Location freedom. So, for instance, currently you can get one of my freebies on how to break into voiceovers, no matter where you live or where you're going. And there's other downloads: how to break into acting 101, no matter where you live in the U.S. or abroad. And I also have creative downloads: how to get your creative juices flowing. So please go to channondade.com, CHANNON.com, Dade, I'm sorry, CHANNONDADE.com,
Mhm.
and sign up to get those downloads. And they're freebies, so why not?
Sweet. And thank you very much for making that offer for our listeners. We'll make sure that the show notes include your web link and things like that.
Great, thank you.
So, any closing thoughts? If there's, whether that's a book that's been inspirational to you, or a quote that, is close to your heart when you are traveling, or even like a mantra or something like that, like something that you would just say, don't forget to think about when you're traveling.
Yeah, it's my own little mantra that I've made up throughout the years. Travel, it's all about the journey. The destination is just dessert.
Nice.
Thank you. It's my mantra. It's what I live by. I love the actual travel part of traveling somewhere. Like that is my juice that gets me flowing. And so
Well,
enjoy that. And that means if you're walking to the bathroom, if you're getting on a flight, if you're in the car driving, travel is such an essential part of our lives, no matter to what extent. Enjoy those moments because there's life lessons constantly thrown at you. Sometimes you have to say, whoa, back it up. Let me digest. But enjoy that. It's all about that.
well, and being aware of the synchronicity in the world when things start aligning for us can only happen when we are paying attention to the journey and
Yeah.
not just trying to get somewhere. Because
Yeah.
that whole experience, every smile, every interaction, that all makes a difference throughout the whole trip.
Yeah. Very, very true. So
Cool.
smile.
You bet. Channon, I truly appreciate you taking the time to join us today. Channon is the traveling actress, and she can be found at channondade.com. We'll have more of that in our show notes. And look her up, check her out, check out Clarence, the cartoon, and listen for that bus driver.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. I really enjoyed this, and thank you for having me on here. This is priceless. Thank you.
Absolutely. And we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care.
Wasn't it great to hear the stories that Channon shared with us today? It's important to remember that you need to be responsible for the energy that you bring into the room. Take a moment and think about that. We've reached the end of today's episode. I hope you've been enjoying our guests and that you can relate to their stories. The interaction doesn't have to stop there. Please reach out to me at jennifer@transformviatravel.com to share your thoughts and feedback. If you're interested in being a guest on a future episode of Go Solo Live and you have solo travel stories to share, please email me at jennifer@transformviatravel.com. Reviews of Go Solo Live are welcomed and encouraged. Please go to wherever you found this podcast and post a review. We're launching the Go Solo Live Challenge events. Our first will be in Chicago in December. For more information about our Go Solo Live Challenge group travel adventure, please check us out at www.facebook.com/transformviatravel. I look forward to connecting with you. Until next time, remember, you're solo, not alone.